Hey everyone, this is Brona from Power and You Coaching. And over the next few videos, 5 to be exact, I'm actually going to be covering the top 5 things that I see as holding, you know, those beautiful purpose-driven entrepreneurs and soul-powered conscious creators and change makers, what I see as holding them stuck and stopping them from stepping fully into their power, from showing up exactly as who they know in their hearts they are called to be, and from creating the life and business that they feel called to create. That just really stops them. So I'm going to be covering the first one today, and the one I'm covering today is a big one. Like it's huge, and if not fully tapped into or healed or overcome, like it's a showstopper. It will literally stop the whole show. And it can make or break. It can make or break the success that you're looking to create. It can make or break the outcomes. And it can make or break the life that you're here to live. It really can. So what is it I'm talking about? So I'm talking about a stuck or blocked emotional body. This I see as being the number one thing that is actually going to stop you and keep you stuck. And the reason being is, firstly, if you know anything about me, you know, or you might not know, but I'm going to share with you now, that I work across 4 bodies. And this has been since week 1 of me being in coach school, because week 1, I literally heard this voice that was like, you are always going to coach across 4 bodies. And it wasn't until years later, I was like, I'm going to look up the symbology of the number 4. And it actually stands for power, hence the name Power and You Coaching. So in order for you to be fully tapped into your power, and you need power to be able to create the results that you desire, it's about being fully tapped into each of these 4 bodies. Universally, I have found that it is the emotional body is the one that is left out. And when it's left out, it can just be super frustrating, and it can really throw people off. Like it literally will stop them and have them maybe turn back around, head back into the jobs that they don't want, head back into situations that they don't want to be in because they feel they have no choice. Because it can be misinterpreted, like when the emotional body is stuck or blocked, and you're stepping on your path, doing what it is you feel called to do. Like when the emotional body is blocked, it can feel like you have invisible walls and you're knocking off them. It can feel like just big blocks. It can feel like resistance with a capital R. And this can be misinterpreted because people will hit off this stuff and they're like, maybe I'm not supposed to do this. Like that's when the doubt comes in. That's when the confusion comes in, because it's like, I thought I was supposed to do this thing, but I have all these roadblocks, and I'm seeing and feeling and experiencing all these roadblocks. So it's the maybe I'm not supposed to do this. And then worse again, it can be the maybe I'm not enough. Like maybe other people are enough and they can do this, but I can't do this. There must be something wrong with me. So it has a huge impact on your business and on the day-to-day, because it can completely hijack your goals, your to-do list. It can hijack your mission, your vision. It can hijack the day-to-day, because you can know all the things that you need to do. Okay, I need to do this, this, and this, but you don't get to do them. You end up doing other things, or you end up creating what you don't want, which is super frustrating. So it can feel like you're really resisting the things that you know you need to be doing, and things that will really move you forward and create these amazing results. It can feel like things are happening sometimes that are out of your control. So you can feel like you're being pulled off your path. Everything is being derailed. You can feel powerless. You can feel like you're stuck on this relentless treadmill where there's just not enough time. There's not enough time, not enough energy, there's not enough resources, there's not enough money, because where the emotional body is not tapped into, that's what it will show up. Like where there is lack on the inside and you're not fully tapped into the emotional body, that's how it shows up on the outside, like lack of outer resources. So you can be taking all the action and doing all the things. You can be doing the mindset work. You can be taking all the action, but you're not getting the results. Or as I said, like, you're not even getting to take the action because you're stuck. And as a result, then you can get, in your head, and you can be like, well, maybe I just need to try harder, or maybe I need to push harder, or maybe I need to work harder. But none of that is going to do. And in fact, that just makes things worse, and you get even more tangled up in your own shadow. And because that's what, if you are not fully tapped into your emotional body, you are tapped into your shadow, where you are creating the things that you don't want. You're getting caught up in things that you don't want to be caught up in, and you feel powerless. And then as a result, like, your energy is tied up in all these things. It's exhausting, it's very depleting, and then it starts to impact your body. And if you're not listening and tuned into your emotional body, which is constantly communicating with you via your desires, via your feelings. Like, feelings are powerful guides. They form part of your intuition, and if you're not tuned in, if you're not listening to them, your physical body will then begin to communicate with you, whether it's through bodily ailments, pain, illness, like lack of ease, which is dis-ease, and it will start to look to get your attention then. And on a whole, all of this can leave you in a place where you're like, once I do X, Y, Z, once this happens, once I create this result, once certain things happen in my life and in my business, then I'll be happy, then I'll be joyful, then I'll be free, then I'll look after my health, and then I'll give more time to myself. Like, you're literally postponing your own life. You're putting it on hold until these external things happen, when really it's because you're not looking after those things and making them a priority that you're actually putting the whole show on hold. So you can get caught up in something that I call shadow success, which is where everything looks fine on the outside, and to other people, everything looks fine, but on the inside, it is a totally different story. So that is what it can look like and feel like when you are not fully tapped into your emotional body and it's stuck or blocked. So what can happen then is, you can go to step on your path and step into the life and the business that you are here to create. Okay. But there's this disconnect. And what causes the disconnect is that with whatever it is you're looking to create, there comes growth and expansion. And expansion is all about like growing outward. It's like taking up space, because when you're going to do these things, you're fully stepping into your power and who you came here to be. So that's taking up space. So that means expansion. So what can happen is like your energy is expanding, your heart is expanding. But then with that, all the things that you haven't wanted to deal with in your past, they will come up, because when the emotional body is not tapped into, it literally means that you're not processing, you're not, feeling your feelings, and they're actually just getting stuck. They become the issues in the tissues. And it's like things that you don't want to deal with, past experiences that you would rather forget, and the parts of yourself that you don't like, that you judge yourself for, identities, like past identities that you've taken that aren't true, but they're conclusions you've made about yourself, maybe because of stuff that has gone on in your past. So your shadow is made up of all these things that you don't like about yourself, that you're like, okay, I'm just going to put them all behind here because I don't want to deal with that. I just want to let it go. Like sometimes it's a very well-meaning intention that you have of like, okay, this horrible thing that happened, I just want to let go. I just want to move on. I do not want to let this and take up any more time or space in my life. I'm done with it. But because it's not fully been processed through the emotional body and healed through the heart, you stay entangled with it, and it's in the shadow. So when you go to expand, like, go and step into more love, more peace, more power, this stuff comes up, and it comes up not to not to get in your way, but it's coming up so that you can let it go, so that you can be a match for your desires. Because when you go to step into the new, it's about making space for the new and letting go of the old. So it's a real natural process of expansion, but it's also a natural process of purification. And it's a natural process of like the life and death cycle, you know, that in order to make space for the new, certain things need to be let go of. And the reason why people can like slam on the brakes is because this old stuff comes up and they're not aware. Like they're not aware of like, ooh, this is all the stuff I don't want to be dealing with. And they're not aware that it's coming up to go. So they end up pushing it back down. You know, there's parts of themselves that they don't want to deal with, the issues, the painful experiences, all the stuff, the uncomfortable feelings like shame and guilt and anger. They're like, no. And sometimes they'll completely just not understand that this is actually that it's all part of the process. So they'll resist it, they'll stop it, they'll be like, no, 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 this isn't happening. And as a result, they can disconnect away from all this stuff, which means they're disconnecting from themselves and they're disconnecting from their power, which means that they're out of alignment. They're out of alignment, and it leaves them stuck in this cycle of, it can feel like chaos. It can feel quite chaotic, and it can feel, you know, like, yeah, that there's just no control. So the good news is that the emotional body is so powerful. It really is. And it really does not have to be this way. If that's what you're experiencing right now, it really does not have to be this way for you. And you can turn it around very, very, very quickly by simply, you know, reconnecting with the emotional body. And when you do, you are tapping into the part of you that is going to make or break your success. Like when you really tap into the emotional body, this is where change happens. This is where change begins to happen on that cellular level. So when you tap into it, like you're using the magnetism of the heart, you're using the power of the heart, which is like, I can't remember if it's like 19 times more powerful or 9 times, but it's way more powerful than the brain. It actually emits a magnetic and an electrical frequency. So it's way more powerful in the brain, which means that you get to tap into the part of you that is pure energy. And this is the part of you that is either open or closed to your desires. And when it's open, it means that you don't need to be putting all this pressure on your physical body. You do not need to be putting all this pressure on your mental body. That's when things can feel so overwhelming because you're like, I need to do this, I need to do this, I do need to do this. But when you can tap into the power of your emotional body, you're tapping into the part of you that gets to receive, the part of you that gets to lean back into your self-worth, the part of you that can rest. And as you're resting, you are making space for all those things that you really want to receive, like they start showing up. So it becomes a really powerful process. And because you're connected with your emotional body, you're using your intuition, you're working with your energy instead of against it. And knowing that anything that comes up, like blocks can come up, but you're in a position to be able to use them as stepping stones, because that's what your blocks are. They're powerful stepping stones, and anything that gets in the way is the way. So conclusion, the emotional body is powerful and you can really use it to propel yourself forward. Now, if this is something that you would like to know more of, I am going to be hosting a masterclass that uncovers some of the stuff that you're potentially holding onto in your emotional body and that are literally blocking your ability to receive those things that you have been looking to manifest and looking to receive, those things that you've been working towards. With this kind of awareness, like it's so easy to shift yourself into receiving mode. And that's why when I work with clients, like change happens really quickly. Like sometimes it's literally within one session, and next thing, all these things show up because all we've done is we've gone and we've tapped into the emotional body and we've begun clearing it and opening up. So if this is something that you're interested in, PM me, drop me a line, and I will give you the details. Because it really is powerful, and yeah, it has the power to really propel you forward. Okay. Uh, Sending you so much love. And yeah, any questions, feel free to share in the comments or PM me as well. Okay. Thank you.